We're here in Blender, and today we're going to be looking at rigid body physics simulation. All right, this is going to be an introductory um, tutorial for those of you that are going to be experiencing rigid body for the first time. You don't know what it is, and it's your first time. So rigid body, it's a simulation that has to do with hard objects. Okay, the name rigid body means things that are rigid. So a tutorial of things that are rigid, so things that are strong, hard objects, the physics behind it. All right, so we're going to be simulating things that are hard. I'm going to be showing you how it works. It's just basically all physics. Okay, it's fun physics, don't mind me. It's not like the one you learned in school, but it's fun physics. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and drop this. We want to create a crate, just a little box. All right, a hollow box, and we're going to make that box. Let's scale it up here and scale it up here. So make this box, and we're going to drop a container inside it. Okay, I will take something that will hit the container to fly off and equally have a damage on it. Okay, that's rigid body. So that's the tutorial. All right, so let's go to edit mode and select face and press E to extrude, S to scale in, and scale it in a little to give it some thickness, and press E again and push it down to give it some depths. To know what you're doing, look here to make sure you're not pushing it too down. One, and yeah, it's fine. So it gives it thickness. So this is a box. We'll throw a container inside it. Let me go back to objects, and let's make it a little bit like this, a little bit just down like this. Yeah, something like that. So bring it down, keep it here. Okay, if we want this, okay, let me teach you guys something else. If you want this to snap down at the center of the table or this plane, let's click on this base. All right, press go to objects, click on set origin to 3D cursor. So the origin comes down here to the base of this. Then click on this magnet. Let this magnet be clicked. Click on this, change this to face, so it snaps to the closest face that is facing it. Okay, and click on face project, and yeah, align rotation to targets. Not just let's leave it. It's not. So what we just click this, bring it down, push it downwards. You see it stays on top of the face. It stays on top of this. Okay, if we bring it up, it goes up, but once it comes close, it just snaps to the face of this and it stays there perfectly. All right, click on this to disable it so you can move it around if you want. Escape. All right, next thing we're going to do is to bring in our plastic bottle that we modeled earlier. So click on file. If you want to import something in that you have actually modeled in Blender before, you have saved in a different file, go to file, go to append, click on append, and let's look for it where I kept it. Let's click here, click here. So see the iPhone, see the plastic bottle, right? We have this plastic bottle. So this is what we want to do. We want to get the plastic bottle, press append, go to object, double click on it, and you can select everything by pressing A. All right, but I don't want to bring in the camera, so hold control and press camera. What else? I don't want to bring in the light, hold control and press light, and the rest of the things. Okay, this light as well, hold control and disable it. Then I can now press append. Okay, anything I don't want, I'll delete it once it comes in. Oh shit, it brought in a lot of things. Okay, yeah. So I have to just just press B to change to block select. Press your middle mouse button, press and hold it and drag it a little bit like this between the cover and the bottle to select it. To deselect the cover and the bottle. At the same time, deselected this our environment, so press B and select this as well. Then press delete, and everything deletes. Good. So I just want this bottle, I don't want the rest of all those guys. So I can bring in this bottle. So the goal is I want this bottle to just let's make it bigger. S, scale a little bit. Okay, and we can press Ctrl A to apply the scale that we just scaled. Okay, all right, so it's going to remain there. Now what we want to do is rigid body, we want this to drop and fall into this box. And another thing is that we're going to, let me get a cylinder. Okay, yeah, cylinder is fine. Take it up, scale it up, and press S to scale it in a little, and press okay, from here scale it up. Okay, now we want this to serve like a baseball bat, so it's going to rotate here. And so this is the design. Okay, I want this to eventually like fly across here, and while it's gets close to this, it just wipe it off while this is falling down into this container. All right, so that is it. So physics will take place. All right, so it's going to be fun, guys. So what we'll do is, first of all, we are going to click on this surface, and unlike the last time, rigid body does not work with collisions. Okay, all right. Now if I go ahead and click on this, okay, show what I mean. If I click on rigid body and I press play, it will fall through everything and fall till infinity. Okay, if I go ahead, unlike the other one, and click on this and click on collision, and I press rigid body, I make it play, it will still fall through to eternity. Okay, so rigid body does not work with collision. Okay, all right, Ctrl Z, Ctrl Z, Ctrl Z, Ctrl Z, and Ctrl Z. So what we'll do is, for this plane, we have to make this a rigid body as well. Rigid body only works with rigid body, but change this from active to passive. If not, if you let it to be active, gravity would affect it. Okay, so if I play, it's affected by gravity. So for make it passive, it still has rigid body properties, but it's not affected by gravity. Okay, so I can play and it still remains where it is. That's it for your base. Always make your base that way. The same thing with this rigid body, change it from active to passive. Then change this from rigid body, click this, go to physics, all right, rigid body, and leave it as active. And while we play it, it drops, but this time around you notice it drops on top of an invincible layer on top here. Okay, see, it drops an invisible layer there. So why is that? Is because we need to change the collision type, the collision physics. So we need to go to collision, change this from convex hull to mesh. So it takes the exact collision of the mesh that we've deformed, and when we play it now, it allows it to fall inside here properly. Okay, fantastic. And now for this guy is not falling anywhere, so we'll still make him rigid body, leave him as active, and all we do is everybody drops on the floor. Okay, all right. And you see, for the floor, the you can go to the surface responses. Now the friction is 0.5%, but I can reduce. That's why you see this thing is cylinder, but it's not rolling down anywhere. Okay, so if I reduce the friction down to say 0.1%, 0.1, I drop this. Okay, it's still not rolling because I mean is not tilted. Okay, but if I make it fall like this, it might actually roll, probably. Okay, never mind, it's not a tilted ground, so physics wouldn't make it roll. All right, so what we're going to be doing is, this is going to fall here, and as it's falling, this will fly here and hit it and cause a damage to it. Okay, and we'll see how the whole thing goes. Now we want to animate this. So this is basic rigid body, but we're going to make some animation to this. Now what do? We need to animate this, so we need to click on animated and animate this property. Okay, now there's something called keyframes. Keyframes are each of the frames where movements are being recorded. So we're going to be creating keyframes by so doing. Now we can click on this first to make sure Blender sets keyframes for us automatically after the first keyframe we have set ourselves. Okay, we'll take this backwards, and yeah, so now you see, look at here, you see that there's a keyframe here. This dot has recorded the position of this here. So by the time this bottle falls, by the time it gets here, it gets to there, that is 20. By 20, the bottle has settled. That's settled by 20. Okay, so let's say it settles by 20. Let's give it 10 more frames. By 30 is still there. So we want this from 30 to 40 for this to fly off and hit it. All right, so what do? We're going to take this keyframe. Okay, let's delete this first keyframe by pressing X and press delete. Then we're going to press no, we're going to click on animated. Okay, once click on animated, now animated means you are telling the system, please, I don't want you to act on physics on this thing. Please let me be the one that will control my own physics. Let me control my own movement of this thing. All right, so that's once I click animated, the whole gravity leaves this alone. Let us form our own movements. Okay, that's why animated is. So at this point, you can click on this small dot to add a keyframe to say, okay, at this point, I want this thing to be animated. All right, from beginning to this point, it has to be animated. Okay, and equally click on I to add your own. Click I to add your own keyframe. Just I has added a keyframe there. Or you press K to add a location and rotation keyframe. Click on that. K will bring out that option for you, and that has added a keyframe here too. So what happens is from 30 to 40, okay, I want this to move here, move all the way here, and stop it just before it gets to this. Let me see. Yeah, I'll rotate it a little bit. I want it to go like a little baseball hit, something like this, right? Yeah, something like this, just something close here. Yeah, so just before it makes contact. All right, just something close like this. So it's automatically, because of this blue button, we have created an automatic keyframe here. So this is what happens once we play this. It gets there, stays off, and it hits and stops here. Okay, now we said, because even if we are controlling our own physics ourselves, we cannot interact with something. All right, the computer is what does interaction, the system does it. So we said, okay, computer, our control should stop at 40, please. Then click on that keyframe to end your control here. All right, at 40 to add the keyframe there. Then from 41, please, computer, please take over the physics, which means it can interact with this, and the force that you have generated can continue pulling it. Okay, then you press on this to deactivate, and it has automatically added a keyframe for you. Okay, so it means at this point physics continues, but at 40 you are still in control, but from here 41 physics system continues again. All right, so let's play it. You see what happens. What will play, it comes in, it hits it, and it falls down, right? Now that's a really tough, it's a really tough container. So it's a really tough container. So now what happens, what is now remaining for us to do is to increase the mass of this. Okay, so this container, realistically, let's make it maybe a 5 kg container. Then but this guy has to have way more mass, way more weight than this to be able to move very faster, and equally hit this the hell out, to like hit this to really damage it very well. Okay, so let's make this like 50 kg and let's see what happens. So I will play it, it drops and it hits it, but 50 is still not so strong versus 10, so we can make this like 200 kg. All right, now that will have a challenge. So do that and we hit, and still not going as fast as we think. So what we'll do is, let's take this to go back a little bit. All right, at this frame 30, we don't want this to come from here. Let's give it more space to fly. So let's draw it way back here. Okay, so it has a much more space to fly fast and hit this thing very well. Okay, automatic keyframe has been set here. So when we play, See, it hits it out very well. And this thing is really standing on its feet. Okay. So I don't think this is actually staying very well. I don't like the collision of it. So I'm going to change it from convex hull to um to mesh. Okay. So let's okay. Yeah, it's quite funny now. So you see what I mean. Okay. Let's change it back to convex hull. All right, but I think we need to change the origin from this point to the geometry of the bottle. Okay, so click object, set origin to geometry. Okay, and we can now press play. It stays there, it hits it, and it falls down properly. It doesn't force itself to stand up. Okay, because the origin, because we were actually forcing the bottle to have its origin at the base here, but now we moved it to where it's supposed to be properly. So that's what happens when you play it. This comes in and hits it and it falls down. All right, so I want to increase the size of this so that we can have more damage. Let me increase the size of this. Aha, move it here a little, and let's keep it from here to here. Control A to apply scale. I'll play it again. It sits there and this guy hits it. All right, it sits there, and so you can see what I'm going for, right? So but um I want this to increase in size. I don't want it to hit it here anymore, since this is a huge bottle, so I need this to become bigger as well. Okay, bigger, bigger. So take it like this, like that, just a little bigger, just before it touches it. Okay, then let me take it up. I want it to hit it around this. I want it to have a damage here. Okay, so let's take it back here. Good. So while we play it, okay, let me take this up. I don't know why it's disappeared, but let's play it. Good. So you see what I mean. So in this case, let's increase our scale of our object so we can have more ground. Okay, now this is what we're going to do. All right, we're going to drop this and it hits it. Yeah, so see, so because our ground actually has very less friction, that's why it's sliding a lot. Let's get the friction back to 0.5 so it doesn't slide away too much. So you see, it still stays, doesn't slide away so much. All right, can increase it to 0.3 so the stick might not, sorry, 0.75, so the stick does not actually fly off so much as well. Okay, the stick actually has a lot of force to it, so we'll leave it there. So what we're going to do next is we're going to bake these simulations. Okay, we want to bake it into frame and we'll add the damage on this. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to move this close, come here and see where this thing hits, because you can see there's no damage on this. We need to create some damage here. So I will do this. We'll see where it's going to hit next frame. Now it hits it at this point. Okay, there's no contact, but it hits it at this point. Okay, so we'll click on this and we're going to go into this data and click on shape keys. All right, there's already a basis. Click on plus. All right, don't ever change this. Don't be here. Click on plus, add a new key 1. All right, this is the basis of your container, but this is what you're going to deform. So click on this, press edit, go to edit, and click on this for proportional editing. Click on this, then take a side, click on any of these faces, maybe 1 or 2 faces around where the damage should happen, and draw it in. All right, draw it in a little, yeah, something like that. Okay, okay, I don't know why it's, yeah, well, it's damage. You don't have to say how the damage should look, right? It's damage, guys, so make it like that, something like that. it's a damage. So just damage it a little in like that. This is really a big hit from this, right? Yeah. And maybe pull out here a little, just a little, just little damage here and there. Okay. Yeah, I don't know how it affects here, but it should just affect there somehow. All right, so yeah, so there's the damage. So once you press tab, go to object mode, you see there's no damage, it goes off. So you have ended up creating a value that you can key here, move it 1, shows the full damage, and 0 actually brings it out. Okay, let me go back to edits and fix this place. I don't know why it's like that, but let's fix it. Or maybe it's, well, if it's like that, we just leave it because it's damage. Okay, anything happens when you are damaging something. Remove proportional edit and see what happens. It's damage. So I've said it's damage so much times that it's funny now. It's funny. So just let it be like that, guys. So it's damaged that way. So what do? You're going to key this. Okay, now at this point we are going to, let's bake the simulations first. So click on this, click on each of the things that has the rigid body, click on this, go to object, go to rigid body, and go to bake to keyframes. Okay, it will move all the simulations and make it become keyframes here. So 1 to 250, 1, yeah, leave everything the way it is, press OK, and just wait a few seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Fantastic. So you see, it's created a keyframe here. All right, good. So if we play it, it should be there. Okay, so let's go back to this point. So we need to make sure that the physics actually worked properly, okay, before we go ahead and bake, and our deformation has been done. All right, so play it again, make sure everything, if it doesn't work properly and you bake it, you have problems. And you see, this is the simulation is being cached. So make sure everything is cached here first. All right, then you can now bake it properly. Okay, so these are all caked. So click on this, probably click on this as well. So let's bake two of them at the same time. Click on object, go to rigid body, and go to bake to keyframes. Okay, then 1 to 250 is fine. Leave everything the way it is and just go and have some coffee and come back. All right, we are done. It's done baking. So when we play it, we'll see what happens. It hits it. Okay, now after baking, once you click on this and go back to physics, you'll notice that there's actually no more rigid body to it. It's just a good old animation now, no more rigid body. So you can export this and send to somebody else that is using Maya or another software as an animation. Okay, so that is your first rigid body animation. So this is what I mean by adjusting and tweaking it while you have to bake. Look at this. Now we want this to, by 41, it makes contact, right? So but at this point, if we click on this bottle and come to this data area, our key 1 in shape keys, if we slide this, you see switch, it goes in and there's actually no contact here, right? So we need to come to this keyframe, click on this, and at 41, from 40 is here, right? But at 41, we want it to actually, we want 41, we need to make sure this button is still on. Let's move it to come here, to come in here a little. Let it come in there. Bring it down. See, let's make the contact. Let's make the contact at 41. Bring it down. See, so it makes contact there. Then 42, you can still get it in to make more contact. Bring it down, make it more contact there. So this is where he makes the damage, right? You know, I'm feeling like I need to rotate this. Yeah, rotate this bit so that it gets better contact there, and this out here, right? A little bit more rotation here. Okay, so it's really giving it to this bottle. So but at 42 you see that the movement needs a little bit more rotation. We'll click on R, Z, rotates, and pull it out a little so it's not intersecting so much with the bottle. Okay, but it's there. All right, so if we come here, you see that what we now, so we can now do our keyframe it so that by 40 this, make this value to be 0. Okay, click on this to add a keyframe that is 0. So from 0 to 40 to be 0. Okay, then by 41 you make it all the way to be 1, and the keyframe is added automatically. Right, that's how you add damages to these things. So when we play it backwards, when I play it again, you see what happens is pull, damages it. Okay, see, it has the damage on it now. Some of you that wants to get more detail to this, you can say pull, it has the damage now, but once it's falling on this on this point, it should equally damage it here, right? If you want that, fantastic. I like you guys so much for having eyes for detail. So if you want this to happen here as well for 60, 61, so you see it's going to have damage here too, press edit. Well, this time around you have to create another key too. Okay, you can call this double click this and call it damage 1. Click on that plus to add a key 2, double click, call damage 2. Okay, so you click on edit tab, go to edit mode, hold this, go to proportional edit, select your face, come here, click on this, and drag it in a little. Yeah, a little bit. Or you can as well change this, click on here, change this from smooth to random. Okay, so drag it in a little, and as you increase it, it gives random damages around. Okay, you do that, this goes in, just random damages happen there because that's where this is supposed to land, right? Yeah, and it's a heavy thingy, so what do you expect, man? What do you expect? It does the damage, right? So you pull it down. All right. Oh, as you are clicking, once you hold this proportional edit, once you change your radius by scrolling your middle mouse, you affect the fall off of whatever is happening. Okay, so now we are done. Press tab object to come out. Now you can now do your keyframe. Oh, no, don't do your keyframe. Take this up. All right, then at this point click on this. 61 is normal, 62, and 62, this is where it's supposed to have the contact if this was here, right? Good. So just take this and move it down a bit. Okay, move it down a bit. See, so I mean, move it down a bit to touch this, and 62, move it down a bit as well to still touch that, and at 63, keep it there to still touch that. All right, 65, sorry, 65, it stays there. And okay, maybe yeah, just maybe bring it down a little bit. So yeah, so in that case, oh sorry, you're making this go through the ground, so you have to get this. Oh, you know what, Ctrl Z, leave 65 out of it. 64, you have to compensate for this going through the ground. The physics doesn't go through the ground. You have to make this like this, rotate it at the y-axis, and it cuts in too much. Take it up a little, take it up, so it still goes through, but not so much that it touches the ground. So it's close to the ground, but not that much. And 63 is when it contacts med. And yeah, okay, so you click on this, and as at 61, click on the keyframe to make sure it's 0. Okay, make it 0. Then at 62, once the contact is made, click on this and make it 1, and the keyframe is added. Yeah, and yeah, that's it. So it hits on it like that, and you have that damage, guys. That's your bottle. That's a bottle that is hit. So that is rigid body, guys. So let's play it one more time and see. This happens, life happens, boom, hits it, falls on it again, and yeah, you have your damage. Okay, one more time, look at it closely, play, boom, hits it and falls on it, and that is your water bottle. All right, nice talking to you guys. This is the end of the rigid body simulations. I hope you guys enjoyed the tutorial and you love this. All right, so this has come to the end of the tutorial. Our next is going to be, we're going to be looking at the fluid simulation, and we're going to be simulating water. All right, have a nice day, guys. Take care of yourselves. Bye.